Afternoon out at Yankee Stadium, some of the greatest names ever to wear the pinstripes have assembled for the 37th annual Old Timers Day game. The great ones are there like DiMaggio, Phil Rizzuto, Whitey Ford, Roger Maris. And for a report on some of the day's festivities, let's send you out to the house that Ruth built, where Len Berman is standing by. Len?
Thanks, Mike Adamley. This tradition began in 1939 as a tribute to Lou Gehrig. This year's tribute is to 50 years of Yankee All-Stars. Over the years, over 80 different Yankees have made it to All-Star games. Over 40 of those 80 are here in uniform, playing right behind us. Here's a foul pop in front of us. Joe Pepitone with a basket catch. Way to go, Joe. There are some new old-timers here today. For example, Bobby Mercer and Sparky Lyle. But one old-timer who is not here today is Mickey Mantle, missing his first old-timers game since he became an old-timer in 1969. As you know, the commissioner banned him from being an employee of a baseball team because of his involvement with an Atlantic City casino. Mantle is not banned from participating in the old-time festivities, but he chose not to come today, perhaps as a protest to Bowie Kuhn's decision. But the old-timers playing behind us, let's go up to the booth for the call of the action. Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola.
Thank you, Len. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you. And, Joe, it seems as if in capsule form we've gone from 1933 to beyond, because the last time we were talking in Chicago, you had the All-Stars from 33, and now you have every member, at least who could make it, of an All-Star team representing the New York Yankees. So more memories flooding another ballpark.
Memories is the key word, and you just saw Tommy Byrne, who was a great pitcher with the Yankees and a good hitter playing right field, make that catch off Tommy Tresh. The batter is Billy Johnson, and of course these old-timers, they get needled a lot. Billy's been getting a lot of meal money, according to the players, and he's put on a few pounds playing third base today.
You know what comes to mind when I see Billy Johnson?
What?
It was a night game. Billy Johnson was the hitter. I think it was the year he was Rookie of the Year. He hit a shot in the hole to shortstop here at Yankee Stadium. Lou Boudreau went in the hole and backhanded the ball, flipped it to Kenny Keltner, the third baseman, and Keltner threw Johnson out at first. One of the greatest plays I've ever seen, where two men got together to get one.
Now this is going to be an experience, Vin, watching him run. He has yet to get to first base. There he goes. Billy Johnson just stretched that line drive, and he wants a runner, or two runners.
Yeah, that's right.
Lee Walls is the coach. Joe Pepitone is the first baseman. Bob Grimm is the pitcher, and Don Zimmer is the batter. And his fellow coach, Jeff Torborg, is not even going to go after it to give Zimmer another chance.
Don Zimmer might have been a great player, except he was beaned in the minor leagues by Jim Kirk in Columbus and was invited. First time I ever met him in a Dodger uniform was here. He was invited to sit on the bench in a Dodger-Yankee World Series, and he had a plate in his head, and he couldn't talk. It was the most terrifying. He could not speak, and he sat there on the bench. Later made the big leagues and was later hit in the face by Hal Jeffcoat.
I tell you, they love him because of that very thing you're talking about, that competitive spirit. Remember when he was beamed, Mavesi said to him, "Oh, you'll be in the lineup before you know it." He said, "Heck, I've been out of the lineup longer than this when I was healthy."
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
When he was beamed, it was of such severity the first time that when he was in bed for 2 weeks, he had to have his head totally immobilized. So they put blocks on either side of his head in a darkened room, and he had to lay that way for 2 weeks until that steel plate settled in properly. And yet he continued to play. Oh, Joe Pepitone reaching for a slipper in the closet. Neat play.
Well, a lot of times they'll let that happen to make sure the guys have to run. Here's a replay on a major league error. Ball hit an air pocket.
That's what it was. Definitely. Mel Stottlemyre is now taking the mound.
Mel had that great sinker. Bobby Richardson is the batter.
No score. Bottom of the second inning. Yankees versus Yankees. And what Yankees? Popped it around the plate. Torborg says, I do not handle that kind of a play for this kind of money. Did you ever play in any All-Star game?
All-Star or old-timers?
I should say old-timer.
I played one in Chicago with the Cubs. The Pittsburgh Pirates invited me back, and then I went back to St. Louis when they had a reunion of the 1946 World Series, the Cardinals against the Red Sox.
Wow. Oh,
line drive.
So Bobby gets a base hit, and he will get a run batted in. Bob Grimm, the Yankee pitcher, will score. In fact, Richardson will wind up at second with a runner at third. And it is Yankees 1, Yankees nothing.
These are fun games, and when you get guys like Sparky Lyle who are unpredictable, he pitched earlier. He came up with a trick pitch. Watch this pitch. See if you can hit it. How do you like that?
I saw that pitch made by another left-hander out of North Carolina who's here and whose first name is Tommy. And he did it against the Dodgers in an exhibition game and shocked the ball club, as you look at Bobby Mercer. But Tommy Byrne did that in an exhibition game in Miami, and it just drove Pee Wee Reese to distraction. Uh-oh. No, and then it bounced up and hit little Bobby on the side of the face. So a couple of more runs score, and it is now 3-0 Yankees.
Bobby Shantz is the shortstop. They're short of infielders here, and you can see Bobby knew he had that play missed right there.
Billy Martin is playing second base, and of course he might have been able to move over to make the play. Here's the Moose, Bill Skowron.
Ben Chapman is the third baseman, throws that infield fly.
We'll be back with more old-timers, old Yankee All-Stars here at Yankee Stadium. It's 3-0 in favor of the Yankees over the Yankees. We'll be back right after this.
When I'm playing ball, I don't care how much I sweat. It's part of the game. Oh, rap. But off the field, I want to feel nice and dry. And I want to smell nice. That's why I use Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant. Speed Stick's the wide stick. Gives me effective protection in just a few strokes. Helps fight wetness and odor all day.
Get the wide stick for protection. Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant by Menon.
Which full-size pickup has the highest gas mileage ratings? You just saw it. It's the '83 Ford. But let's look at that again in slow motion. Yes, Ford gets gas mileage ratings this high. A new high for full-size pickups. Plus, it's built tough with twin I-beam suspension. So catch an '83 Ford for yourself. It's down-to-earth tough. America's truck, built for tough.
If you've got what it takes and really care, there's a special kind of life you'll want to share. Serving your country is a special call. It's good for you, it's good for all. Not all who drive fit the bill. It calls for brains, it calls for skill in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. High-tech and the services go hand in hand. A whole new world, you're in demand. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll move up, you'll feel proud. You'll stand out above the crowd. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. But most of all, you'll earn the respect of the people and country you're there to protect. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
We're at Yankee Stadium. I'm Vin Scully along with Joe Garagiola, and it's Yankee All-Stars versus Yankee All-Stars. Since 1933, they've made some great contributions to that game. And so it's Yankees versus Yankees. And it is 3-0 in favor of the Yankees. The score doesn't mean anything.
I would love to hit against Ali Reynolds if he'd have been throwing like that. But when he was pitching... Extra bases for Tommy Byrne. Can you imagine what must have gone through Ali Reynolds' mind that day? He's pitching a no-hitter. Williams hits the foul ball, what looks to be the last out. And Yogi, who was sure-fingered, dropped it.
And then the next pitch, Williams hit another foul ball.
And there was no way anybody in that ballpark beside Yogi was going to catch that. And Yogi really squeezed it, and Reynolds had his no-hitter.
And Reynolds was right standing alongside Yogi when he caught it, because if anything was going to go wrong, he was going to try and double catch it. And do you know that was 1951? Where'd all that go?
Tommy Henry.
Old Reliable, I think Mel called him. You can hear the voice of Mel Allen in the background, and he is certainly as much a part of Yankee tradition and all-stars as the stadium itself. It's nice to hear him.
There's Mel right there.
There he is.
It was really never October in St. Louis when I was growing up, Vin, unless you heard Mel Allen from Yankee Stadium. Hi, everybody. Mel Allen from Yankee Stadium, the World Series.
I know one of the biggest thrills I ever got was sharing the telecast with Mel Allen of Don Larson's perfect game against the Dodgers. That's something you don't forget.
There you see Mrs. Lou Gehrig. This was earlier. We taped it. Eleanor Gehrig, Arlene Howard, Elston Howard's widow in the ballpark. Diane Munson is here. Yankees remembering the ladies. And, of course, a moment of silence for the guys. Joe Pepitone. You know what I remember him for?
His hair?
It pertained to his hair. He went into the Astrodome, and Bob Addy asked Pepitone and Bob Addy, the late sports writer of Washington, said Pepitone called it the world's biggest hair dryer. That's all he worried about. Said he had a hairline fracture. He said, I'm going to comb it.
That's Ryan Duran. Remember how he struck fear in the hearts of a lot of hitters when he would warm up, look through those bifocals, and then throw his last warm-up pitch up on the backstop screen.
Yeah, and he just did it, and wiping the glasses would also throw some fear into you.
Ryan, of course, does a great job now, I believe, with Alcoholics Anonymous. He had a problem which he licked, and now he has dedicated his life to helping those who are less fortunate.
And Vin, just on that very note, we were talking before the game, and you know how much I enjoy these things. Bill Dickey is here, and Spud Chandler, and
right.
Ryan Duran was there, and we were talking about jobs. And Duran says it's really tough to sell preventive medicine. It was a very profound thing that he said.
He ought to know, too, having looked at it from both ends of the barrel. So it's memory time at Yankee Stadium, and a lot of folks, there are kids here who they only know some of these names from the history books, but there are a lot of other older people here who relate pieces and chunks of their lifetime with these players. And Pepitone hits one into the corner, but it'll be handled, and handled well by Roger Maris.
Talking about remembering, Bill Dickey was saying, as Spud Chandler sitting next to him, he said in 1943, Chandler won 20 games and lost 4. Was the best pitcher I ever saw that year. Should have been 24-0. And he said he had an earned run average of 1.8, and Chandler said no, it was 1.64.
And they remembered that
yes,
well.
Yes, sir.
On the mound now, a fellow who made baseball history, Jim Catfish Hunter. Not to mention a buck or two along the way.
He's throwing pretty good, the Catfish.
Catfish Hunter back out on the mound. And Roy White the batter.
Roy White, who spent 3 years in Japan. He's in pretty good shape, so he looks like a player right now.
Catfish just threw him a slider, and Roy is having to laugh about it because he broke it off pretty good. I think the worst I ever heard, though, was Ronnie Klein when he played an old-timers game and he threw a spitball to Mantle.
Oh, no.
That is really sinking.
Oh, that's playing.
He starts throwing spitballs in old-timer games.
There's a drive, but let's see about Maris trying to backhand it, and he couldn't quite get down to the ball. And by the time Bobby Mercer picks it up, it is a stand-up double for Roy White. That's all right, Rod. You can't do anything wrong out here. No way.
Might want to mention the umpires who are out there, too. Behind the plate is Bill Haller, who has just retired, now working for the American League. There you see Bill Haller, one of the great guys. And at second base, Hank Soar. They took a picture of Hank Soar, Don Zimmer, Hank Bauer, and Moose Scarron with their crew cuts. There it is.
Yeah.
And everybody started saying if they asked if they combed their hair with a tire iron.
But they said it with a smile, right? That's a tough grope.
Oh, yeah. Look at Billy. Billy's going to argue with him.
Billy Martin in arguing with Bill Haller. Vic Raschi. Great name out of the Yankee past. And Raschi's going to take a few warm-up tosses. You know, in 1978, it's amazing how time goes by. In the old-timers game in 1978, that's when George Steinbrenner announced that the then fired Billy Martin would return in 1980. Well, Martin returned in '79. and he was fired after the '79 season. You remember, after the battle with the marshmallow salesman. But it was the old-timers game of 1978 when Steinbrenner shocked the world and said Martin's coming back.
And speaking of George, where is George? We thought he'd be here. Maybe he'd sit in a booth and give us some scoops.
And Billy drives it into the left field corner. So that will pick up Roy White. And they'll get that back to the infield sometime tomorrow afternoon. Billy will hold at second. So that's 3-2 now. So as usual, the Yankees putting on a good show against the Yankees. Billy Martin. The one thing that comes to mind was that windy day with the Dodgers trying to beat the Yankees in the World Series, and Jackie Robinson hit that little pop fly, and all of a sudden it was starting to come back towards the mound, and Billy came charging in with the ball game in the balance and made the catch. Bobby Shantz, what does he make you think of? Oops.
Makes me think of Manila. I was in the Army with Kirby Higbee's Manila Dodgers, and you remember Higbee.
Yeah,
had
sure.
2 signs on the club. You're always hitting, and nobody hits a triple with Higbee on first. The only signals we had. We played an unknown Army-based team, and this little left-hander was pitching against us, and we barely beat him 1-0 with the run in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the next day, we put him on orders to join our team.
On orders, huh?
Yes, sir.
Wee Bobby. Seems to me, too, that if I remember, and it's going way back, but pitching in an all-star game, he struck out Stan Musial.
So he struck out about 5 in the Rangers
yeah, right.
game.
And Musial was one of them, and it was just so awesome. And it brought back the memories then of Carl Hubble striking out the 5 in the all-star game. And, of course, Vic Raschi is another great name in the Yankee past. Look at that chance swing the bat.
Yogi. And I know I'm going to talk about Yogi, so start writing
That's
it.
okay.
Yogi was catching, and he'd say every time he'd go out to talk to Raschi would meet him halfway, said, if you had any brains, you wouldn't be a catcher. Get out of here. And he'd run him back to home plate. And Yogi said, I got to come out here. And Raschi would run him off. What a pitcher he was.
Oh, and how. Vic Raschi, Allie Reynolds.
They want Billy to steal home. Raschi's just laying the ball in there.
Better watch out, Martin should. Uh-oh, that's going to go through. No way Zimmer was going to get over and get it. So Billy Martin comes home with the run, and I would think now that ties it up. That's it. It ties up the game 3-3, an ideal way to stop it. There shouldn't be a game ever played where Yankees beat Yankees. It worked out perfectly. 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 runs, 4 hits, and the crowd loved it. Bill Skowron with that Brillo haircut. And let's go down to the field again to Len Berman. Len?
Well, the final score 3-3, Vin. Recognize this guy? 1961, a 61st home run out here, Roger Maris. You enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, very much so, Len. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
A quick word about your buddy Mickey Mantle not being here today.
Well, I'm sorry to see Mickey not here. He belongs here. You know, Mickey is Yankee baseball, and it's just too bad he's not here.
Well, perhaps he'll be here in the future.
I
Thank
hope
you,
so.
Roger. Enjoyed it. All right, Yankee Old Timers Day is history again. Final score was Yankees 3, Yankees 3. We'll be back with more of 30 Rock on this Old Timers Day from Yankee Stadium right after these commercial messages.
This may very well be the world-class touring car of the year. Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Turbocharged, fuel-injected, electronically fine-tuned thousands of times a second. With 4 rear shocks for remarkable balance on the road. Power, poise, performance. This is what driving is all about. And Thunderbird Turbo Coupe does it with class. World class. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Here's 2 good friends tonight.
Haven't they been down there long enough?
I know how to get them up.
Must say something more.
What are you doing? Fishing.
So tonight, let it be low and brown.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Low and Brow.
Why were you guys down there so long?
Just waiting for a good reason to come up.
Let it be low and brown.
And I think you'll agree, old-timers games, no matter where they're played, Yankee Stadium or Candlestick Park, Park, always popular in festive affairs. Coming up, we have an important day of baseball here on NBC. You'll be seeing either the New York Yankees versus the Texas Rangers or the Boston Red Sox versus the Oakland A's. So stay with us as our sports day continues after this.
Dance Fever has it all. Saturday at 6:30 on Pittsburgh's 11.
This week there's more music and excitement, so join Eddie Rabbitt, the Bee Gees, and Joan Rivers.
If your furnace didn't give you the heat you needed last winter, now is the time to replace it with a new Rheem furnace during American Heating's out-of-season sale. And whether you need gas, oil, or electric furnace, American Heating can replace it in just one day. Who can? American. At the same time, they can add on Rheem whole house air conditioning that cools and filters the air. Take advantage now of the out-of-season low prices on Rheem heating and air conditioning equipment. Rheem furnaces and air conditioners are available in energy-efficient models. So call American Heating now for a free estimate, 242-4600.
Surprise! So, isn't this great? I got my own kitchen, my own bedroom.
And your very own ring around the collar.
Ring around the collar.
For a tough stain like this, you need whisk.
Yeah, but
Sprays and powders aren't good enough. Whisk does a better job. And when whisk gets out ring around the collar...
Your whole wash is clean.
No more surprise visits.
And no more ring around the collar.
Whisk gets ring around the collar and your whole wash clean.
Surviving Summer, starting Wednesday on your news station.